A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News on TV1, coming to you live from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. My name is Krishan Devasagaya. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines. Israel and USA launch coordinated attack on Iran, while the latter retaliates amid rising tensions in the Middle East. Airspaces across the Gulf region closed. Sri Lankan Airlines cancels all flights to the Middle East today. US President says major combat operations have been declared against Iran. Iran says it will use all weapons in its possession to protect the nation. Sri Lankan Ministry of Foreign Affairs closely monitors situation of Sri Lankans in the Middle East. Over 2,200 children among those arrested for drugs and related offences. A startling revelation from the Sri Lanka police. Sri Lanka-Pakistan Super 8's ICC Men's T20 World Cup clash tonight at Pallekele. In your top story tonight is the developing situation in the Middle East. Now, earlier this morning, the United States and Israel carried out a series of coordinated strikes on Iran. Shortly afterwards, US President Donald Trump posted a video on his Truth Social account declaring that a major combat operation is now officially underway in the country. Newsfirst's Vinujiseni Viratna is ready with the latest updates of the situation.
What's happening in the Middle East and why did Israel attack Iran? Today, Israel launched a series of strikes on multiple locations across Iran, including the capital of Tehran, with foreign media reporting that the United States joined in the operation. Powerful explosions were reported near Jamhuri and Hassanabad squares in central Tehran, while missile strikes were also reported in Isfahan, Qom, Kermanshah, Tabriz and Elam. Multiple explosions have since been reported across parts of the region, intensifying fears of retaliation and broader confrontation. The developments mark one of the most serious escalations between Israel and Iran in recent years.
Israel launched a series of strikes this afternoon, targeting multiple locations in Iran, including the capital, Tehran. According to foreign media reports, several powerful explosions were heard near the Jamhuri and Hassanabad squares in central Tehran, with large plumes of smoke seen rising across the city. One of the strikes reportedly targeted an area near the office of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Missile attacks were also reported in the cities of Isfahan, Qom, Kermanshah, Tabriz and Elam. Meanwhile, severe disruptions to mobile phone and internet services have been reported across Iran. Foreign media stated that the attacks were aimed at Iran's missile stockpiles and nuclear facilities. Commenting on the operation, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said the strikes were carried out as a preemptive measure to eliminate threats that could be posed against Israel. Following the launch of the attacks, Israel declared a state of emergency in anticipation of possible retaliatory strikes and instructed civilians to remain inside protective shelters. Warning sirens were reported sounding across Israel, while the Iron Dome and Arrow air defense systems were activated, according to foreign media reports.
In response to the strikes carried out by Israel, Iran launched a series of retaliatory attacks. According to foreign media reports, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced that it had launched an initial wave of missiles and drone strikes. By the afternoon, explosions were reported near the United States Navy 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, following Iran's counter-attacks.
The Islamic Revolutionary Guard co-announced, according to foreign media reports citing the Tasnim news agency, as reported by Reuters, that in retaliation for the strikes carried out by Israel, Iran launched an initial wave of missile and drone attacks. The retaliatory strikes by Iran targeted areas hosting US military bases in countries including Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, Dubai and other parts of the United Arab Emirates. So far, no official reports have been released regarding casualties or damage caused by these attacks. By this afternoon, explosions were reported near the United States Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. Foreign media indicated that these strikes were a direct response to the attacks on Iran by the US and Israel. The Bahraini Ministry of Defense has confirmed the explosions, but has not yet released the official information on deaths or injuries. Authorities have advised civilians in Bahrain to remain calm and stay in secure locations. The 5th Fleet headquarters is a key strategic center for naval operations in the Middle East, overseeing missions in the Gulf, the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea. Meanwhile, Reuters reported that loud explosions were also heard in Abu Dhabi, and Al Jazeera reported a series of explosions in Kuwait. Explosions have also been reported in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia.
The escalating conflict in the Middle East has caused widespread disruptions to air travel across the region. Now, Iran, Israel, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, Kuwait and Qatar have completely closed their airspace, with civilian aircraft prohibited from flying through these countries. In Iran, all domestic and international flights have been suspended, while airports in Israel, including Ben Gurion International Airport, are now limited to emergency operations only. Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates have also closed their airspace, and neighboring countries along potential missile flight paths, including Iraq, Jordan and Lebanon, have temporarily restricted flights, further affecting regional travel. Meanwhile, Deepal Pereira, spokesperson for Sri Lankan Airlines, confirmed that all flights operated by the airline through the Middle East have been suspended until further notice.
Shortly after Israel launched a series of strikes on Iran, US President Donald Trump released a video on his Truth Social account stating that major combat operations have officially begun in Iran. The strikes came amid ongoing talks between the United States and Iran regarding Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Over the past several weeks, President Trump has issued strong warnings to Iran. 8 months ago, in June 2025, the United States and Israel were jointly engaged in a 12-day conflict with Iran. Commenting on today's series of strikes, this is what President Donald Trump had to say.
The United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the joint US-Israel strikes on Iran are aimed at eliminating an existential threat. He described the action as a step toward empowering the Iranian people to determine their own future and praised US President Donald Trump for his leadership in the operation.
מכאן אני מבקש לפנות לאזרחי איראן. אתם אזרחי איראן, והצבא האיראני, הארטש. אתם לא אויבים שלנו, ואנחנו לא אויבים שלכם. יש לנו אויב משותף. הכת הרצחנית של האייתולות שהשתלטה עליכם באמצעות כוחות הדיכוי של משמרות המהפכה והבסיס. הם אלה שדרדרו את המדינה הנפלאה שלכם, דרדרו אותה לשפל המדרגה. הם אלה שטבחו בכם, בהמוניכם. ולכן, בתיאום מלא עם ידידי נשיא ארצות הברית, אני אומר לכם, כל מי שיניח את נשקו, כולל בקרב כוחות המשטר, יבטיח את שלומו ויבטיח את עתידו. העם האיראני על כל חלקיו, הפרסים, הכורדים, האזרים, הבלוצ'ים, האבחזים וכל שאר אזרחי האומה הנפלאה הזאת. זאת ההזדמנות שלכם להקים איראן חדשה וחופשית.
To prevent further destabilization.
The escalating conflict between Israel, the US and Iran has drawn widespread international concern. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. stressed that the safety of Filipino citizens in Iran and the Middle East is paramount. Belgium's Foreign Minister Maxime Prévost said the Iranian people should not pay the price for their government's decisions. Norway criticized Israel's strike as not in line with international law, while Pakistan called for an immediate halt to hostilities and urgent resumption of diplomacy. Indonesia expressed readiness to mediate, with President Prabowo Subianto willing to travel to Tehran if both parties agree. Russia urged an immediate end to the attacks, calling for a return to political and diplomatic solutions. Kuwait condemned Iranian violations of its airspace and warned it reserves the right to respond proportionately. The European Union, led by Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa, urged all sides to exercise restraint and protect civilians, while Saudi Arabia condemned Iranian attacks on Gulf states. Ukraine blamed Iranian authorities for the escalation, expressing support for the Iranian people. The United Arab Emirates confirmed it was targeted by Iranian ballistic missiles, though air defenses intercepted several of them. Global leaders continue to call for diplomacy to prevent further destabilization of the region. What is the status of Sri Lankans living in Israel? Nimal Bandara, Sri Lanka's ambassador to Israel, said that despite a number of missile attacks this morning in the Tel Aviv, Haifa and Jerusalem areas, no casualties have been reported. He also confirmed that Sri Lankans in Israel have been provided with safety and security guidance.
Around 29,000 Sri Lankans are currently working in Israel. The Sri Lankan Ministry of Defence and the Public Information Bureau, or PIB, are continuously providing updates to keep them informed. The PIB is also updating information in Sinhalese, ensuring that Sri Lankans are aware of the current situation and the necessary safety measures. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan embassy in Israel remains fully operational. Today, the embassy has provided a dedicated emergency phone number for Sri Lankans. The number is +972 930 5731. which is also available on WhatsApp. This allows them to contact the embassy at any time in case of emergencies. Sri Lankans are urged to reach out to the embassy immediately if they face any danger or difficulty due to the ongoing conflict and to stay updated with the latest safety information.
Air travel across the Middle East has come to a near complete halt as tensions between Iran and Israel continue to escalate, showing no signs of de-escalation. In the past week, US F-22 Raptors arrived in Israel and world leaders visited the country amid growing concerns over Iran's nuclear program. Now, for several weeks, former US President Donald Trump repeatedly warned that Iran should never obtain a nuclear weapon, even as peace talks mediated by Oman took place just weeks ago. With all flights suspended across the region, including Iran, Israel and neighboring countries along potential missile paths, the situation remains volatile. Experts warn that the next few hours could determine whether the conflict remains contained or escalates further, with international powers closely monitoring developments and urging diplomacy, even as military operations continue.
Well, thank you, Vinuji, for that very comprehensive report. Now, let's take a look at the latest updates on the rapidly escalating situation in the Middle East. In the latest news, a drone has targeted the Kuwait International Airport, leaving several employees with minor injuries and causing limited damage to a passenger terminal, according to Kuwait's General Authority of Civil Aviation. Now, at the same time, the Israeli military says its air force has launched a new wave of strikes targeting missile launchers inside Iran. Explosions have also been reported in Dubai, UAE. The United Nations Security Council is scheduled to meet later today to address the joint US-Israel attacks on Iran and the widening military escalation in the region. Now, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for an immediate halt to hostilities, warning that failure to de-escalate could trigger a broader regional conflict with serious consequences for civilians and stability in the region. Meanwhile, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is expected to address the nation shortly as tensions continue to rise across the region. Stay tuned to Newsfirst's online platforms as we bring you the very latest developments on this story. Now, moving on from that conflict to another conflict closer to home, fighting between Pakistan and Afghanistan's Taliban military entered its third day today, following overnight clashes as the international community expressed increasing concern about the conflict and called for urgent talks. Pakistan's strikes on Friday hit Taliban military installations and posts, including in Kabul and Kandahar, in one of the deepest Pakistani incursions into its western neighbor in years. Meanwhile, foreign media reported that Afghanistan's Taliban officials have claimed that a Pakistani fighter jet was downed in the eastern city of Jalalabad and that the pilot was captured alive.
Afghanistan and Pakistan remain locked in a tense standoff following Pakistan's recent strikes on 22 military targets in Afghanistan, part of its newly launched Operation Ghazab-ul-Haq. Taliban official Zakir Jalali stated that Afghanistan is pursuing active diplomacy alongside legitimate and responsible military action. Afghanistan's Taliban officials have also claimed that a Pakistani fighter jet was downed in the eastern city of Jalalabad, with the pilot captured alive. Pakistan, however, has refused to enter talks at this stage. Musharraf Zaidi, spokesperson for Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, emphasized that terrorism from Afghanistan has to end, underlining Pakistan's hardline stance. A state of emergency has been imposed in the Bannu district of Pakistan as the conflict intensifies. International concern is mounting. The Council of Europe and several countries have called on both nations to de-escalate tensions and resume diplomatic engagement. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric warned that fighting near a border crossing used by returning Afghan refugees could worsen an already serious humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump praised Pakistan and its leadership, saying the country was handling the situation terrifically well. As military operations continue and diplomacy stalls, the situation remains volatile, with international observers warning that any escalation could have severe humanitarian and regional consequences.
And in news here at home, what is the future of cricket in our country? This is the question the Sri Lankan public is asking right now. Are the responsible authorities taking the right steps to put the game back on the right track? Or are they simply standing by, allowing cricket, which is currently held captive by a small group, to go down the drain?
Corruption and irregularities. It can be said that these and Sri Lanka cricket are not two different things, but rather two sides of the same coin. We don't need to look too far back. Let's turn towards the Parliamentary Committee on Public Enterprises, or COPE. The Parliamentary Committee on Public Enterprises has summoned the administration of Sri Lanka cricket on numerous previous occasions. Here are a few discussions that arose regarding the corruption and irregularities within Sri Lanka cricket.
සූර්ය ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේ පිළිබඳ තක්සේරු වාර්තාවක් ලබා ගන්න කියලා.
අපි වියදම් කරන ලද මුදල සහ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනයේ වියදම් කරන ලද මුදල බිලියන 2කට ආසන්නයි. චයිනා හබ් කෝපරේෂන් සමාගම සහ වරාය අධිකාරිය එක්ව ඉදිකරපු මුදල බිලියන 5කට ආසන්නයි. මේකේ ගැළපුමක් තිබුණේ නැහැ.
රජයේ තක්සේරුවෙන් ඉදිරිපත් කරපු තක්සේරු වාර්තාවකත් අපිට ඉවල නැහැ බුදුමල්ලා. බුදුමල්ලා මේ කාර්ක සභාව නම ගෙවන්න එපා. ඕක ඇත්තෙන්ම අපේ ඇග්‍රීමන්ට් එකක් තිබුණේ නැහැ වරායත් එක්ක ඕකට ගෙවන්න. අප වරායට බිලියන 2යි අපි පොරොන්දු වුණේ ගෙවන්න මේ ඔය සූර්යවැව මේක හදන්න. ඊට අමතරව වියදම් කරපු ඔක්කොම එක වරායයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සප්ලයි අතර තමයි ඒ කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එක තිබුණේ.
2015 මම කතා කරන්නේ ඒ වෙලාවේ චයිනා හබ් එකකින් එවලා තිබුණා ක්ලේම් එකක් 5 බිලියන් ගානක. ඒ තිබුණේ අවුස්ට්‍රේලියානු බිල් එකයි සහ ඒක ගෙවුවේ නැති නිසා පෙනල්ටි එකක් වැටලා තිබුණා විශාල ගානක 2.1 බිලියන්.
Another COPE meeting regarding a cricket coach's contract. This is how Sri Lanka cricket's conduct was brought into discussion.
මේක ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කරන්න ડોකියුමන්ට් එකක් ඕන නේද? ඔව්. ඉතින් ડોකියුමන්ට් එක ගන්නද කොහොමද ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කරේ?
ඔය ડોකියුමන්ට්ස් තියෙනවා සර්. ඔය
නෑනේ දැන් මේ කියන දේ නෑ කියලා අනේ. මේ ආයතනය රාජ්‍යයේ බ්‍රෑන්ඩ් එකක් වෙනුවෙන් හදපු ආයතනයක්. ඒක පෞද්ගලික ආයතනයක් නෙමෙයි. එහෙමත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් මෙතන තියෙනවා. ඒ මෙන්ටැලිටි එක වෙනස් කරන්න ඕන. ඒ නිසා මේ ආයතනෙට මේ රටේ ක්‍රිකට් වලට වෙන දේ පැහැදිලි.
Throughout the recent past, we have seen the Sri Lanka Cricket Administration working harder to protect their own power than to protect the game of cricket. We have seen over the past period how even opposing factions become friends again when they need to preserve their power. This event is the best example of that. Now, this happened before the 2019 cricket elections. This is what Shammi Silva said before the election.
ජයන්ත ධර්මදාස මහත්මයා ක්‍රිකට් ගහලා නැහැ සුදුසු කම් යට නැහැ මෙයා මිලියන් ගාණක් ක්‍රිකට් බෝඩ් එකෙන් මෙයාගේ හොස්පිටල් එකට එනවා මේ වගේ වැඩ කරන්නේ කිසිම ක්‍රීඩාවක් කරපු නැති කට්ටිය තමයි ක්‍රීඩාවක් කරපු කෙනෙක් මේ වගේ කොහොමත් පිටිපස්ස දොරෙන් එන්නේ නැහැ ජයන්ත ධර්මදාස මහත්මයා හොරෙන් ඇවිල්ලා ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටීම් එක රින් ගන්න යන්නේ මොකද දැන් ටීවී ඩීල් එක එනවා ඉස්සරහට ඒ ටීවී ඩීල් එක එනකොට මෙයාට මේකට එන්න තමයි ඔය පාර කපා ගන්නේ කාව හරි බෙල්ල මිච්චලා හරි එන්න බලන්න.
And after the cricket election, Jayanta Dharmadasa, who was defeated, had this to say.
නිර්වරණ ප්‍රතිඵල දුන්නා මම පරාදයි මම හිතන්නේ ක්‍රිකටුත් පරාදයි මෙහෙමනම් ලංකාවේ ක්‍රිකට් යන්නේ අනාගතයට අනිත්‍යව සංකාරා තමයි ගොඩාක් දේවල් වෙනස් කරන්න තියෙනවා වෙනස් කරොත් මම හිතන්නේ ලංකාවේ ක්‍රිකට් හරියයි නැත්නම් ඉතින් බැටරිලා තිබිච්චත් ගොඩ ගන්නනේ අපි හැදුවේ කාවේ ක්‍රිකට් බැටුනේ මේ කාගෙන්ද කියලා කිව්වා ලංකාවේ ක්‍රිකට් මුදල් නාස්ති උනේ කාගෙන්ද කියලා කිව්වා ලංකාවේ ක්‍රිකට් වල ඩොලර් පිටරට ගියේ කාගෙන්ද කියලා කිව්වා එහෙම වෙලත් මෙහෙම සිද්ධ වෙනවා නම් මට හිතා ගන්න බෑ මොකද්ද තව වෙන්නේ යන්නේ.
K. Mathivanan, who was serving as the Vice President of Sri Lanka Cricket, resigned. Within a few hours of his resignation, an executive committee meeting was held. In that meeting, it was decided to appoint Jayanta Dharmadasa to the vacant Vice President post. To show just how sincere his previous statement was, Jayanta Dharmadasa did not hesitate to accept the very position held by K. Mathivanan, the Vice Presidency of Sri Lanka Cricket. In 2019, Sri Lanka cricket elections were held. In that, the two factions that previously contested against each other competed as a single team and are now part of the current cricket administration. That is the situation. And this is what we have to say. Cricket in Sri Lanka does not belong to a small group of people. This is the pride of Sri Lanka. This is a part of our culture. Our people never abandoned cricket, even when they were suffering from 1,000 problems. Cricket functioned like a psychological treatment that provided mental relief to everyone. On the other hand, this is something that brings foreign exchange to the country. It has that potential as well. In our country, this sport is bonded like a bark to a tree across all three sectors: social, economic and political. A minority clique is attacking this very bond. Today, all Sri Lankans, both local and overseas, who love cricket have finished lining up to save the game. Everyone has united, regardless of party, colour or religion, in the opinion that a clear and definite decision must be taken regarding Sri Lanka cricket. This is the people's expectation. This musical chairs system will not work. We cannot bury these issues through speeches given to the media. It is like trying to hide a decaying corpse under a bed. You cannot stop the odour. All parties have finally come to one place to rescue the Sri Lanka cricket that the whole country loves. Now, it is just a matter of doing it. Our people are always ready to accept both victory and defeat. However, these people who acted against corruption will never accept any corruption that is linked to cricket. Do the right thing at the right time. That is the only expectation of the people.
In another headline-making story tonight, a media briefing was held at the Government Information Department today to promote awareness of the Drug Prevention Week, which is set to commence from tomorrow as part of the national initiative, A Nation United. The National Drug Prevention Program, under the theme A Drug-Free Nation, A Happier Tomorrow, has been operational across Sri Lanka since October last year. Drug Prevention Week has been declared under this new program to make it more active and engaging.
Police point out that drug addiction among children is a serious issue.
This is a major problem, especially among school children and those under 21. In 2024, 7,950 children under 21, both in and out of school, were arrested for drug-related offences. Among them, 2,257 were arrested for heroin and ice, and nearly 200 were female children.
It was also explained how drug addicts are treated in rehabilitation programs.
Addicts aged 25 to 60 are sent to Kandakadua, and those aged 18 to 25 are referred to our rehabilitation centre in Vaunia. They stay there for 3 months. After adapting to a normal social life, they move to our vocational training centre in Senapura for 3 months of training. After 6 months, they are fully reintegrated into the community and free from drugs.
Can't a drug addict voluntarily undergo rehabilitation?
If someone thinks, I need to escape from these toxic drugs, where can I go? For those who feel they want to be free from drugs of their own volition, we have established a centre in Senapura. We rehabilitate individuals there for a period of 3 months. You can come there. This phone number will be important to you. Please write it down. 076 96 27761. If there is anyone in your home or anyone you know who wishes to be free from drugs, call this number and direct them to our centre.
The public was also briefed on the Drug Prevention Week starting tomorrow.
We have organised 112 awareness programs for school students in the coming week. These programs are centred across all 9 provinces and 24 districts. Additionally, we have targeted several subgroups for our publicity campaigns, including the fishing community, bus drivers and 3-wheeler drivers.
As the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board, during the past few months, we have increased the number of people specifically educated on drug prevention to 75,000. Focusing on the Special Drug Prevention Week starting tomorrow, the 1st of March, 300 officers attached to the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board will be working to cover divisional secretariat divisions across Sri Lanka to carry out this task.
Meanwhile, police say that a former army intelligence officer was among 4 people arrested yesterday with a haul of the drugs ice and heroin. The street value of the seized drugs is said to be over 500 million rupees.
Based on a tip-off received, the Ahungalla police arrested a person with over 1 kilogram of the drug ice in a search operation conducted in Balapitiya last afternoon. Following his interrogation, the police seized 6 kilograms of the drug ice and over 7 kilograms of heroin from a woman in a house in Ambalangoda. Police said that 39mm live ammunition and 33.8mm live ammunition were found in the woman's possession. The police also discovered 6 kilograms of heroin and ice from a person who had arrived to collect the narcotics from her. Police say that a drug trafficker who is currently overseas has been operating this racket.
Among those arrested is a 34-year-old former army intelligence officer. Authorities stated that further investigations will be carried out into the suspects and further operations will be launched to seize any additional narcotics linked to the network. Police further revealed that the racket was orchestrated by a drug trafficker currently residing overseas who is believed to have directed the operation from abroad. Officials emphasized that continuous raids and enforcement actions will be undertaken as part of ongoing efforts to eradicate the drug menace from the country.
The arrested suspects were produced before the Balapitiya Magistrates Court this afternoon and were granted permission to be detained and questioned until the 5th of March.
A suspect wanted in connection with a double homicide in Kadavatha was arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department at the Bandaranaike International Airport upon the suspect's arrival from Qatar.
Police said a red notice had been issued for the suspect who had fled overseas in violation of a court order. The 32-year-old resident of Siambalape was taken into custody upon his return to Sri Lanka and has been handed over to the Kadavatha police for further investigations. He had previously been arrested in connection with a double homicide and was remanded before being released on bail. However, while on bail, he had fled the country. The shooting took place on the 24th of March 2022 in Kadavatha, where 2 men travelling on a motorcycle were gunned down with a T-56 assault rifle. The victims, aged 30 and 31, were residents of Paliagoda. Investigations have revealed that the double homicide was allegedly carried out under the direction of organised crime figure Ganimulla Sanjeeva.
Let's take a look at the views expressed today in Kurunegala regarding the justice and the security of samples presented to the judicial medical officers in connection with crimes.
Consultant Judicial Medical Officer Dr. Mohammad Siddiq shared these views regarding the murders of several individuals, including journalist Lasantha Vikramatunga, while attending the 35th conference of the Northwestern Province Journalists Association. A commemoration of deceased journalists also took place during the event.
The country spoke about this. We spoke about Lasantha. When Richard D'Souza was killed, I was just a young boy. A lawyer named Vijayadasa Liyanarachi was murdered. Even if it wasn't widely discussed, that is what happened. Looking back since then, hundreds of journalists have been killed and hundreds more have been injured. Keith Noya was attacked. How many people were subjected to this? But in every instance, where does the victim end up? Where does the injured person go? They end up at the hospital. When they eventually stand before a magistrate, a High Court judge, a Supreme Court judge, or an Appeals Court judge, what is the first report the court demands? They ask to see the JMO report. It is based on the JMO report that injuries are analyzed. This allows us to determine the intent. I can be hit on my ear, my leg, or my head. If I am hit on the leg, there is likely no intent to kill. If the blow is to the head, the intent is clearly present. Regarding intent, injuries must be recorded with absolute precision. There are certain things I prefer not to say as cases are still in court. However, some things I will mention because they are part of the public record. In the Lasantha murder case, the forensic doctor reported it as a shooting. If it is a shooting, there is a specific pattern, an entry and an exit. If there is an entry but no exit, the bullet must be inside. However, during the case, it was stated that there was an entry but no exit. So, where is the trajectory? Where is the bullet? There was no bullet to be found. The moment the bullet is missing, the claim of a shooting fails. The defense counsel then argues that there was no shooting. The police on the other side maintain there was. If the JMO report is flawed, the accused is acquitted. What happens then? Whether intentionally or unintentionally, a criminal is given a chance to escape through a JMO's report. If forensic doctors have done such things, I am truly ashamed of my profession. Even under the current administration, we see a certain sluggishness. I still wonder what really happened to Lasantha. We don't know what happened to Tajuddin. Do people have immunity in court just because they belong to a powerful family? No such things exist. I believe that today there is no evidence for the Tajuddin murder. The JMO must take responsibility for that. Perhaps he didn't personally hide or destroy it, but it was hidden or lost under his watch. If a sample, a fragment of bone or an osseous remain kept within my premises goes missing, I must be held accountable. But I am not the only one responsible. The government must also take responsibility. The reason is that the government has not provided us with the necessary facilities to secure such evidence. Therefore, I believe that if justice is to be served correctly in this country, it must be a collective effort. It is teamwork. It requires the cooperation of the police, the courts, the JMO, the hospital and the journalists. Ultimately, it is the journalists, not us, who deliver this message to society.
හේතුව ජනමාධ්‍යයෙන් තමයි මේ පණිවිඩය සමාජයට දෙන්නේ අපි නෙවෙයි.
Now, the Frontline Socialist Party's National Convention will be held in Colombo tomorrow. It is organized under the theme, Power to the Class, Party to Power.
පන්තියට බලයට පක්ෂ කියන තේමාවෙන් තමයි සුගතදාස ගෘහස්ත ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේ හෙට උදේ 10ට අපේ සමුළුව පැවැත්වෙන්නේ.
Our convention will be held tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium under the theme Power to the Class, Party to Power. We expect to take a decisive turning point at this convention. As this government progresses through the next few years, a political vacuum will emerge within Sri Lankan society. This vacuum is being created because the current government, which claimed it would fulfill the aspirations of the previous Aragalya and end the 77-year curse, is instead continuing that very same curse. There is a political necessity to fill that void. It is clear to us that the current foolish opposition cannot fill this gap as they follow or endorse the same political program. Furthermore, a segment of the opposition is attempting to incite racism and religious extremism once again. We are well aware of their hidden lives and how those lives actually protect the teachings of the religion they speak of. The whole country knows the truth about them. We have a political necessity to build a new political camp. Therefore, we emphasize that from this point forward, the party will take a major turning point to fulfill this political need.
දේශපාලන අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තියෙනවා. නිසා මේ දේශපාලන අවශ්‍යතාවය පුරවන්න පක්ෂයේ මෙතනින් පස්සේ විශාල හැරවුමක් ගන්නවා කියන එක අපි අවධාරණය කරමු.
Sri Lanka's Chief Justice Preeti Padman Surasena visited the Kilinochchi court complex yesterday. Let's take a look.
The Chief Justice was welcomed by the High Court Judge of Kilinochchi, District and Magistrate Court judges and lawyers. Following the reception, the Chief Justice engaged in a discussion at the court complex and inspected the High Court, District Court and Magistrates Court to personally assess their deficiencies and requirements.
If you go back to the recent history, all of us know what happened to this country. All of us waited in 12 years. All of us slept without electricity. This country didn't have foreign exchange to bring medicine, fuel, gas, etc. in these premises. And the vehicles that were parked in all the other courthouses in the country, what are they? They are not foreign exchange. What happened to that amount of foreign exchange? So as the learned judges said, it is for the first time in the history that we got together and disposed these productions and earned something for the government. So vehicles are not produced in this country. You have to give foreign exchange to bring down the vehicles, the motorcycles, and riders, people's bodies, etc. And unfortunately, some of them get caught, and police take them into custody for various things, and then bring them to the court. Sometimes law may be that they must be confiscated. Well, then you should confiscate and sell it and remit the money to the government. Why on earth anybody should keep those vehicles? Why on earth anybody should keep those timber? Now it is not a secret that timber is also important to this country. Now we keep timber, let it decay, let it become soil and decay to the ground and import it again for it, not only vehicles.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has revised fuel prices with effect from midnight today. Accordingly, the price of 1 litre of auto diesel has been increased by 4 rupees and its new price now stands at 281 rupees. The price of 1 litre of super diesel has also been increased by 6 rupees with its new price now standing at 329 rupees. Meanwhile, the price of 1 litre of 92 octane petrol has been increased by 1 rupee and its new price is 293 rupees. There will be no change in the prices of kerosene and 95 octane petrol.
News First with the people.
In more local news, the annual festival of St. Anthony's Church in Katchativu, located in the seas of Sri Lanka, was held today with great devotion and enthusiasm. Thousands of people from both Sri Lanka and India gathered on the island to take part in the festival, which is seen as a bridge connecting the people of our island with our closest neighbor.
We are here at Katchativu, where today thousands of devotees from both India and Sri Lanka have come together to celebrate the feast at St. Anthony's Church here in Katchativu. Now, on this special occasion, Indian devotees have been given an opportunity to cross Sri Lankan waters without the need for any visa documents, joining Sri Lankan devotees in a celebration that truly rises beyond borders. Reporting to you from Katchativu, I am Stephen Machado.
The annual festival of the St. Anthony's Church in Katchativu in the Sea of Sri Lanka began yesterday evening with the participation of devotees from Sri Lanka and India. This time as well, devotees from many parts of Jaffna, Mannar and India visited Katchativu to take part in the festival. The ceremony began with the hoisting of the national flag, followed by the stations of the cross and Eucharistic adoration. The annual festival mass was jointly celebrated by Jaffna District Chief Priest Reverend Father Joseph Das Jebaratnam and Verkot Rameswaram Parish Priest Father Thomas Paribalan. Many priests from Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka also took part in the festival mass. This year too, thousands of devotees from both Sri Lanka and India participated in the mass.
Holy Father belongs to an
Among those present were Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Kanchana Banagoda, Minister of Fisheries Ramalingam Chandrasekhar, Chief Justice Preeti Padman Surasena, Jaffna District Governor Maradalingam Pradeepan, Indian Consul General to Jaffna Shri Sai Murali, as well as Navy and police officers. Following the mass, the statue of St. Anthony was blessed. A special feature of the Katchativu St. Anthony's Festival is that it reflects the unity between the people of Sri Lanka and India.
Today, we take flight with the 6th mission of the Sri Lankan Sky Warriors. Now, for the airmen and women of the Sri Lanka Air Force, the sky is not the limit. As the Air Force continues to mark its proud journey of 75 years, this mission explores a remarkable dimension beyond aerial defense. It is a story of discipline, professionalism, and excellence in hospitality. In episode 6, we uncover how Sri Lanka's Sky Warriors are expanding their horizons, proving that their capabilities extend far beyond the skies that they dearly guard.
Welcome to Hospitality Management School, Sirasa.
Thank you. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of surprises today, and right now I'm feeling that I'm inside a hotel, so let's go inside and see. So for the past 75 years, the Sri Lanka Air Force has spread its wings to a lot of different sectors, a lot of different experiences. So right now I'm in the home of the future chefs in the Sri Lanka Air Force, the future of the hospitality industry. So what do they have? Let's go and see.
From the moment you walk in, you feel it. The quality, professionalism and creativity all in one space. This is where the heroes who guard our skies master the art of service excellence. Located within the Sri Lanka Air Force Base in Sigiriya, the Air Force Hospitality Management School stands as a testament to discipline meeting distinction. Established in the year 2013, the training school equips Air Force personnel with professional qualifications in hospitality and hotel management, shaping them into skilled service professionals ready to meet national and global standards. This is not just about cooking or housekeeping, it's about discipline in presentation, excellence in service, and leadership in hospitality.
Here in the Hospital Management School, we are providing training for the mess stewards and caterers. That we are covering a larger spectrum of workload that is relevant to mess stewards and catering fields. So that they will be furnished with NVQ 4-level certificates. And with that, you will be able to create a comprehensive person with more capabilities and skills.
Graduates of the Hospitality Management School go on to serve within the Air Force's network of holiday resorts across the country, bringing military precision to some of Sri Lanka's most scenic destinations. From protecting the nation's skies to setting new standards in service, these sky warriors continue to rise with discipline, pride and purpose. For them, the sky is not the limit, it is just the beginning.
Warriors.
And in some cricket news, Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to field first in the final Super 8s encounter in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. The clash against Pakistan is currently being played at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. Batting first, Pakistan scored 212 for the loss of 8 wickets in their allotted overs. Chasing a target of 213, Sri Lanka are currently at 74 runs for the loss of 2 wickets at the end of 8.3 overs. Russia's Sozinov Vladislav won the second leg of the 27th Sri Lanka Air Force cycling tour.
The second leg of the cycling tour was held from Putnam to Dambulla. A total of 233 riders representing 32 teams are participating in this year's tour. The distance of the second stage was 139.9 kilometers. Starting from Putnam town, the race concluded in Dambulla. Dinusha Saranga of the Sri Lanka Army secured second place. The third place was won by Abdullah Mohammed of the United Arab Emirates. The official electronic media sponsor of the tournament is the Maharaja Media Network. You can catch all the live action at the 27th Sri Lanka Air Force Cycling Tour on TV1.
The 96th Battle of the Maroons, the annual big match between Ananda College and Nalanda College, Colombo, continued for its second day today at the SSC grounds in Colombo.
Ananda Nalanda College Colombo declared their first innings at 353 runs for 8. Nethula Virimana played a stellar knock, scoring 165 runs. The Nalanda innings was opened by Nadul Jayalath and Santul Vijayaratna. Their first wicket fell when Nadul Jayalath was dismissed for 14 runs. Playing their replay innings, Nalanda College Colombo reached 278 runs for 4 at stumps today. Nemiduak Mimana remains unbeaten on 112 runs. The official electronic media partner of the tournament is Maharaja Media Network.
Well, on that note, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. A reminder to stay tuned to the online platforms of Newsfirst for the latest happening in the Middle East. Thank you for watching. Take care, good night, and God bless you.